Stories about Ratman. So here's the thing. If I tell you the stories about Ratman, you might like Ratman a little less or realize he was less deliberate than you think. So I'm going to admit, I don't remember what came first, the changing of his place in the game or the comic. But what had happened was we'd gotten the Portal 2 song, Exile Vilify from the National. And I worked with them for that. And I was working with them under the auspice that we were going to use that early on in the game. If you remember Portal, people would hit the flaming leap thing and they would never get behind the scenes and they would think that was the end of the game and they just rode the conveyor belt into the flames. And so we thought that was funny to play on that. And what we were going to do is have a false ending in Portal 2 where, like in the third map, you would die and you kind of be tricked to die. And then this Exile Vilify song would play, and that would be your death, and we would just sell it as the ending. It sounds like a funny idea. It ended up not really working, so we cut it. But we still had the song. And then when Eric got really mad at me that the song didn't work someplace else that he wanted to work. I'm like, wait, okay, but it worked the other place, dude. And that's what I work with them on. But okay, so we had this song, and then we had this comic that wanted to come out. And the comic is really Michael Oeming, who's on here. You should go follow him. Andrea Vikland and Ted Kosmaka. And so Ted was the writer, and he was working with Eric on it. And I don't remember if we had started using him already in the placeholder for the little hints that were happening in the game or not. But the idea that you needed a character that wasn't Chell or wasn't a player, and that you needed to, wasn't GLaDOS, wasn't anybody in the world that we could talk about behind the world. And so that kind of became born from that. And they did the comic. And the comic is beautiful. And that was really great. And it was originally, Ratman was kind of based on Tom York. It looks enough like me that I use it for my avatar. But it was really Tom York was the basis for it. Amalgamation of people, but that was in there. Andrea and I would later share an office for CSGO, but this time she was with Ted, the other Ted Backman, who did all the early concept stuff for the Half-Life series and all the really crazy stuff. Ted's super talented. I don't think he's doing games anymore. But like it was just kind of brought out of that. And so we really liked the comic and really wanted to do it. And the comic ended up being then just some beautiful art that I think still is up in the Valve office. And giving you kind of that background and talking about that. And that was really like Ratman rose out of like, hey, we want something to market the game and talk about the world that isn't the player character of Chell or GLaDOS or, Stephen Merchant or anything. So what do we do? How do we approach it? We have this song, like it all kind of tied together loosely, but it was less deliberate than you might think. But again, this is what happens when you give talented people a problem, is they solve it in this beautiful way that you end up with something that is actually really cool. But yeah, there you go.